Hi there. It's October the 22nd, and we continue our journey through the prophecies of Jeremiah and the story of Jeremiah. In Hebrew, he is Yirmiyahu. The Lord establishes, the Lord appoints. And we're looking at chapters 39, 40, and 41. In these chapters is really the denouement of the drama of the destruction of Jerusalem and the downfall of Judah. Jeremiah had been prophesying this, and the people haven't listened. And now finally, in chapter 39, the Babylonian leaders, the Babylonian military leaders come and they sit themselves in the gates of Jerusalem. They've been besieging the city now for 2 or 3 years, and finally they are right at the gates of Jerusalem. Zedekiah, instead of going out and surrendering, tries to escape. King Zedekiah goes out through a hole in the walls, and he makes for the desert, going down towards the Dead Sea and towards Jericho. But the Babylonians chase him, capture him and his family. They kill his sons before his eyes, and then they put out the eyes of Zedekiah in a terrible judgment, terrible retribution. They then burn the city, they burn the palace, they burn the temple, they destroy the walls, and then they deport most of the people who are left in Jerusalem and in Judah, leaving only the very poor people, those who don't really have anything. They are left in the land. In the midst of all this, Jeremiah is protected by Nebuzaradan, one of the chief military men of Nebuchadnezzar. And because Jeremiah is perceived to have been supporting the Babylonian cause, he is actually let go, and he's given over to Gedaliah, or Gedaliah we call him. Gedaliah is made the governor, or the Babylonian occupation governor of the province of Judah and Jerusalem, and to rule over these poor people that are left. And so he's actually given freedom. Jeremiah at last is allowed to go and live among the people. But Jeremiah at the end of chapter 39 has a word for his friend Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian who helped rescue him from the water pit a couple of chapters ago. And he promises that in the midst of all the upheaval that's going on, Ebed-Melech will be protected. So then we come to chapter 40, and in chapter 40 there's a little more detail about Jeremiah's release, and it actually says the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah through Nebuzaradan, the one who had him in chains, the one who was maybe taking him with the people away from Jerusalem. And then Nebuzaradan says to Jeremiah, you were right, judgment has come on the people. This has happened because the people didn't believe, but actually I'm going to let you go, and you can choose whether to come to Babylon with us, or you can choose whether to go back and be with the people in Israel. And Jeremiah chooses to go back to Gedaliah, the new governor, and he goes back and joins with the poor people there. Gedaliah is based at Mizpah, and he makes his base there, and it's from Mizpah that he's going to rule. And not only people from the poor people, but also there are people who've gone into exile. They've gone and left Israel and Judah, and they've gone into Ammon, and they've gone to Moab, they've gone to Edom, they've gone into the surrounding areas out of fear of the Babylonians, and they return into Judah and Jerusalem to swell the numbers. Gedaliah says it's obviously harvest time, and Gedaliah instructs the people to go and harvest at this time, and there's actually a plentiful harvest. If the people hadn't resisted the Babylonians, they would have been well supplied, because there's a plentiful harvest, and it's just a sign that the people made the wrong choice in deciding to stand against the Babylonians when Jeremiah had said that they should surrender to the Babylonians. At this time, there's a rumor that comes on, there's a report that comes through one of the field commanders. He's obviously one of the military men of Judah who's managed to survive and has been out perhaps it says in the fields, and so he's been away from the battle. And this is Yochanan Ben Kareah, and he warns of an attempt on Gedaliah, the governor's life, by a man from Ammon, sent by King Baalis of Ammon. and this man's name is Ishmael, and it says that Ishmael is coming to murder Gedaliah. But Gedaliah doesn't listen to Yochanan, and he says, no, I can't believe this of Ishmael. And then at the beginning of chapter 41, sure enough, Ishmael comes and comes to Gedaliah, makes himself at home, has a meal, and then rises up and kills Gedaliah and all of the Jews who are with him in a terrible slaughter. Not only that, but there are some people who are coming to Jerusalem, presumably to offer sacrifice at what's left of the temple, and these men have prepared themselves for worship, and they've made vows to the Lord, but these two are killed, and their bodies are thrown into a pit of Asa from an earlier period, and it's a terrible situation that they are left in. And not only that, but Ishmael, this man, then takes captive the people of Jerusalem, of Mizpah, Gedaliah's people, and he takes them off, meaning to take them back to Ammon. But Yochanan, this captain who we've spoken about, rises up and he chases after Ishmael, and when the people see him, when the Jewish people see Yochanan coming, they are emboldened, and they go over to Yochanan and they escape Ishmael, and Ishmael actually flees with just a few folks back to Ammon. However, Yochanan, who is now in charge of the Jewish party that has been left, takes everyone back into Judah, but with a plan to go into Egypt. So they're not going to stay in Judah, and for this simple reason, that he's afraid that when the Babylonians, who are now in charge and have put Gedaliah in charge, when the Babylonians hear that Gedaliah has been murdered, they will come and seek to take revenge on those they assume, particularly the likes of Yochanan and the Jewish people. They assume that they have murdered Gedaliah, so it's dangerous to stay in Judah, and so they're looking to go to the protection of their old allies in Egypt. What we see in this unfolding story is this terrible outcome, this terrible result, consequence of Judah's refusal to hear the word of the Lord. We also see the Lord's faithfulness to the likes of Jeremiah, to Ebed-Melech, and he still cares about his people. So when the king of Ammon is seeking to destroy them, the Lord still raises up those who can seek a remnant survival. And of course Jeremiah has spoken a lot about the remnant, so already even as the Babylonians are taking the Jews away to captivity, there are those Jews who are coming back to the land from Ammon, from Moab, from Edom. And now they stand at this point: are they going to trust God in the land, or are they going to go back to Egypt? There's always that question there: are we going to trust God in the midst of difficult situations, or are we going to look to our own protection? Are we going to take our own steps, regardless of what God says? And we'll see in the next section what Yochanan and the people of Israel do when they get Jeremiah's advice. Have a very good October 22nd.